All right, day 3 of Greenstyle Creation Lumia Zip-Up Hoodie Sew Along. Okay, so the past couple of videos I was kind of dragging. I don't know what was going on, but I drank some caffeine and I'm ready to go. I put my interfacing on my center front pieces. And then when I did that, I misplaced one of my center front pieces and spent like 20 minutes looking for it. Oh, that was fun. I ended up putting it in my scrap bin drawer. Don't ask me what I was thinking. But I found it, and that's the important part. So today we are going to just construct the front part of our hoodie, of our zip-up hoodie. I might also do the thumbhole cuff if this video doesn't go too long, because if we have that constructed and put together, then on the last day, all we really have to do is the zipper, the band, and then put the cuffs on. So hopefully if this video doesn't take too long, we'll get that thumbhole cuff done too. So let's get right to it. Let's add this one in. All right, so what we need to do is we need to put these two pieces right sides together, or right sides out, so that we can kind of line them up. And I believe it goes like this. Let me just check. Okay, yeah. And we want our pocket piece out as well. So not in behind, but sticking out. Spread open. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put this right sides together with this. So we're going to flip this over, and we're going to attach this right to the top here. There's going to be a little bit of a dog ear piece, and that's okay. So we're going to clip that. And then we're just going to follow all the way down, clipping as we go around the curve here. We recently watched the Encanto movie on Disney Plus. Sorry if I said that wrong. But I absolutely loved it. And those songs are so catchy. Okay, sorry, I got sidetracked for a second. I forgot what I was doing. If you have not watched the movie, I definitely recommend it. It's great for kids. It's a great family movie. We really, really enjoyed it. But I warn you, the songs are probably catchier than Frozen. So you've been forewarned. Okay. I'm going to undo that a little bit because I'm needing a little bit more of the fabric here. Lin-Manuel Miranda just has an amazing skill for creating these earworms. But they're a lot of fun, so it's okay. All right. So here's our piece. Let me pull this up really quick so you can see it. Okay, so we lined the raw edges up. So the raw edge of the top of our pocket is going on that side piece, that jut out piece there. And then our curve is all lined up as well. Right sides together. I was gonna say wrong side. Right sides together, and then matching up the raw edges, except for it's if you use the piping, I keep wanting to say binding. If you use the piping, you'll have some stitches there from basting the binding on. But now it says to mark the circles for the pocket. So I guess it was important And they're gone. I ironed them out, so I'll have to pull those back on it. But okay, so mark the spaces for the pocket again on this part. Like I said, I had them marked, and then my iron took them right out. So I'll just do that later. You can probably eye it a bit too based off the picture. I mean, it looks kind of like it starts here and here. But anyways, moving on. We are just going to stitch those raw edges together. I'm using my serger, but you can definitely do this on a sewing machine, a regular sewing machine. Just make sure you're using a stretch stitch, a lighting stitch, or a triple strap, or a zigzag stitch. Triple stretch stitch is a stretch stitch. If you're unsure of what those stitches look like, I have a blog up on the Ash and Elm site that shows examples of them and pictures, and so definitely check that out. So this is 3/8" seam allowance. So if you're using a serger, you're just going to cut a little bit off, because remember, you've got to take in the actual stitch as part of your seam allowance. Okay, just following around the curves. Making sure nothing's folding up underneath it. Have an Encanto song stuck in your head. Dance around to the music nobody else can hear. I can't hear it either, so don't think I'm playing it. It's just stuck in my head. All right. So we've got that all attached. So your piece should look like this now. Ooh, my piping is really short. Probably did a little too much for my seam. Whoops. You can kind of see my piping still. And then it disappears a little bit here, right here. So, yeah, that's all right. Okay, so same thing to the other side. I might do a little bit smaller seam allowance with this one, but at the same time, the piping on the other one is already kind of gone, so we'll see. I think with the other videos, I was just so, whenever I do a new pattern, I always get kind of like nervous because you don't want to mess it up. And then when you're doing a video, you especially don't want to mess it up because you can't redo it. There's no like, oh, let me seam rip that so I can record it again. No, thank you. So it's like a one-shot deal. So if you mess it up on camera, it's even worse. And then I don't want to tell anybody else how to do it wrong. So I think I was just kind of uber nervous about it, like not wanting to steer anybody wrong. All right, so same thing, 3/8" seam allowance, just all the way around those raw edges. We'll see if the binding matches or if it's just going to be a little different. I was wondering about that though, because the binding's not, piping. Moment of truth. Let's see how that turned out. Okay, so kind of the same as the other side. I'm happy with that. At least they won't look drastically different, which I'm good with. Oh, my earphone's gonna die. Let's do this. Hopefully this other one. Okay, good. It's like, hopefully this other one attached, or we're about to have a loud noise. Okay, optional. Press the seam allowance down and top stitch up to the upper circle, then push the side away and top stitch. All right, so what it's saying is we can go through and top stitch this down until you get to about right here. And then you're going to push, it says push the side away. So you're going to push this away. So you're going to push the whole pocket piece inside down. And then you just top stitch that all the way down. Right? Let's see. So then you'll end up with a top stitch going like this. Nope. I wonder if I attached these incorrectly. I don't think so. Oh, no. Yeah, I was right. Yeah. So you end up, so you top stitch, sorry, friends. You top stitch this down until you get to here. And then you move everything out of the way. And you continue to top stitch there. Well, that was a weird way of saying there. And then when you open this up, this is your side here. And you'll have top stitching going like that. So why not? My piping isn't really showing, so why not top stitch it to give it a little bit more definition? I think we'll do it. Or maybe not. I think I probably will too, just because the seam is a little bulky with the piping in there, and I don't want it to stand out. It'll get kind of annoying. Okay, so it should end up looking like this will be one side. I mean, the front is already constructed, so now it's just kind of doing these finishing touches to it. Yeah, I'm going to top stitch it. I can go back and forth forever, so let's just do it. Whenever you're waffling, you might as well just do it. You probably want to do it. You're just trying to convince yourself not to. I do need to switch out my cover stitch threads. So let's get that switched out. That shouldn't take too very long. Where are we at here in our video? Oh yeah, we're good. We should be able to get this done and still get our thumbhole cuff done. So that is exciting. Yay! I'm excited. I have to admit, I am usually not a big fan of thumbhole cuffs, mostly because I attempted my first thumbhole cuff pretty early on in my sewing garments career, and it was kind of a nightmare. The cuff pattern wasn't very well, I don't want to say it wasn't very well written. It's more that it was just kind of confusing if you didn't understand how a thumbhole cuff got constructed. And then the way it was constructed was basically you're sewing these pieces together and leaving a hole. Thumbhole makes sense. And that's just what I thought all thumbhole cuff patterns were. And then this sounds terrible because I've been sewing for several years. Just recently, I found thumbhole cuffs that were done differently. And it's probably just because I finally looked at it instead of like, usually I see a thumbhole cuff and I'm like, no way, Jose, not going to happen. Not even an option. So I think I finally just started paying attention to them. And my youngest son loves them. He calls them his magic sleeves. It's so cute. He's like, Mom, look, I have magic sleeves. So now every time I make him, pardon me, every time I make him a hoodie or a sweater or anything with long sleeves, he's just like, is there magic sleeves? It's like, can't put magic sleeves on everything, bud. But he loves them. I just thought that was so cute. Little kids come up with the cutest things sometimes. Usually when I have to thread something on camera, it takes forever. So I'm really excited that went pretty quickly. I usually have a piece of scrap fabric that I use to start my stitches, but I don't see it. So I'm wondering if I put it somewhere else or tossed it. Luckily, I have a whole big, actually, I'm not going to lie. I have 2 whole big dressers of scraps. I just can't throw them away. I can't bring myself to do it. And I actually use them quite a bit. Color blocking, doing some of those smaller projects for the Christmas sew-along. Scraps are awesome. Okay, so we're going to start here. So the piece of scrap cloth that I use, it's just a leader cloth, and what it does is it just helps lead those stitches through so that they lock in on the scrap fabric. So when I start it on my actual fabric, it starts right on the edge instead of, sometimes if you're using a cover stitch, it takes a couple of stitches for the stitches to actually catch. So doing it this way, it gets right on the edge and then we're not missing any of it. Just making sure. Pretty sure it's supposed to go this way. I looked at it like a dozen times and now I'm like, what if I'm wrong? Yeah, we're good. All right, so we're making sure that the seam is facing towards the center piece. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna top stitch around. It went off a little bit. It'll be okay. Until we get to right about here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to move the pocket out of the way. So hang on, I need to go a little bit further here. move the pocket out of the way. Make sure it's nice and flat. But that the seam is still facing that. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna have to undo some of that top stitching towards the front or the top part, just because it went off my seam slightly and it's gonna bother me. So I'll fix that later. But oh darn, I should have chain stitched it, but that's okay. So here's our piece then. Yeah, you can see right here I went off, so I'll fix that. And then what you want to do is you can baste this pocket onto the side so that it's nice and flat. You know what? I think I'm just going to undo all these top stitching. I'm not really loving the look of it, so I don't think I'm going to top stitch this other piece too. I think I'm just going to undo it, and that's it. Sometimes we do things and we don't love it, and that's okay. So then our top pieces are done, except for we need to take this pocket piece and we need to baste it onto here so that it's nice and flat and even, so that when we go to attach it to this, when we go to attach the sides, it's not going to try and fly off and have a mind of its own. So what I'm going to do is start with this corner. I'm actually not going to baste mine. I'm just going to pin it. So totally up to you. You can baste it if you want. Even if you do baste, you still need to pin because you want to make sure that everything, all those raw edges, are lined up nice and pretty, or you're going to get a lot of wrinkling right at where your pocket's going to be. Okay. So there's that. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pin this side because we'll need it when we go to attach the zipper. I don't know. I'm really going back and forth about this. The piping, I just did too big of a seam allowance, so my piping isn't showing. That really makes me sad because I was really excited about that. Oh well. So if you're doing this, make sure your seam allowance when you're attaching those two sides, if you're using the piping, I probably wouldn't do a 3/8 inch. I'd probably do like a 1/4 inch. And it's probably because I, attached it with the serger instead of, but that shouldn't have really affected it. Because, okay, anyways, I'll fix this one later. Next, let's just get the thumbhole cuff really quick done. Pardon me. My throat is all blech. Okay. So this thumbhole cuff is slightly different than how I have been doing them. So I just want to make sure that I'm following the instructions on this one. And the instructions are way down for this, down towards the bottom, because it's one of the last things they have you do. But we're rule breakers, so let's break some rules. Okay, so this is the wrong side. We need to hem this a 1/2 inch, turning under 1/2 inch and stitch with a stretch stitch. Okay, so we're going to need a regular sewing machine for this one because you don't want your seams to be too bulky. So let's get this out of the way here. Oops, wrong one. Pardon me. Oh, I had a frog in my throat. All right, let's get this going. All right, and the first thing we need to do is take this piece and fold it so that your right sides or the wrong sides are together. So you're folding it down a 1/2 inch so wrong sides are together. And then we're going to do a stretch stitch. Oh, my machine ate that right up. Lost my scissors. Ah. Let's hope we can get this out without having to cut it. Urgh. I mean, it makes sense that this would happen because everything else is going pretty good. I think I'm just going to have to cut it right out. It's down in there good. It's like in there. It wouldn't be so long if there wasn't a major disaster. It wouldn't be sewing with me if there wasn't a major disaster. I just went too fast. That's in there good too. So now you get to see how I troubleshoot getting stuff out of my machine. That's always a good lesson, right? And this Frech Terry is just like not happy with me at all. I gotta see what it's stuck to. You know, I always say this, and I think it's so true that things like this, they're what you learn from. You know, hopefully, unless you're me. Sometimes I don't learn from these. Sometimes I'm just like, whatever, we're just gonna keep going. Oh, it's in there good. I can't tell what it's hooked on, but it is. Whatever it's hooked on, they made friends. And they're just like, no, thank you. We don't want to go. Let's see, maybe I can push it down through. There it is. Aha! The extraction is complete. All right. This is good times. Come, watch me take apart my machine. All right, I got it all put back together. I think I just went too fast. I lost the piece that goes on top. I'm telling y'all, I If something is out of my sight for more than 2 minutes, it's lost. Not even 2 minutes, like 30 seconds. I'm just like, I'll never see you again. Okay, so this thumbhole cuff, I'm going to have to recut. We'll do that later. Seeing one thumbhole cuff, I think, works. So let's do the same thing, but try a slightly different. Okay, 1/2 inch. Now, instead of being a speed demon, let's see if going slow helps us out here. There we go. Sometimes my machine is just like, hey, take me to dinner. And then we can get the work done. All right, so we folded that 1/2 inch under and did a stretch stitch for that. Now we need to do similar for our thumbhole cuff piece. So the part that's got the bigger bump is going to go towards the top. We're actually going to hem the smaller bump. 1/2 inch again. Okay, let's see. Nice and slow. Alrighty. All right, I'm just going to do this other one too while I'm at it. I know that I have to make the other thumbhole piece, but okay, just folding it 1/2 inch, using a stretch stitch. Go slow. Yep, it's starting to take it down. So I just need to start it a little bit further in. Oh goodness. That wasn't further in enough. I think this one is just like this size thumbhole cuff. It's just like, yeah, I don't think so. No thanks, friend. I don't want to be a thumbhole cuff. But I want you to be. All right, let's try it this way. Goodness gracious, this one just doesn't want to go. Okay, let's seam rip this really quick and then try again. See, now I'm in my serious mode. Urgh. We gotta get this seam ripped. We gotta get this right. I might just have to end up making another piece for this one too. Hopefully not, but I think I just had to. A big buildup of stitches there. Okay, so let's try this one more time. We'll try going maybe from the other way. Nope. Okay, let's see. I know you can put like paper underneath it and that helps prevent it. I don't know. I mean, I know you can. That just kind of, I don't like putting things between my stitches and my fabric because, but maybe if we do kind of like we do with the, I'm just running through things in my head right now, so sorry. I'm just wondering if I use paper as kind of like a leader cloth like I do with my cover stitch, if that might work. Or if I actually have to put the paper underneath my stitch. So let's see. Or under my fabric. Ugh, it worked for like a half a second. Okay. Let's try it. I think I'm just, this right now is just troubleshooting. I'm just going to make another piece just like the other one. Right now I'm just trying to troubleshoot to see if I can figure out a way to get it to stitch without dragging it to the bottom, which I put the paper in under it. So yeah, I would do that if you're having trouble with your machine eating it. Put a piece of paper underneath it. It worked, and I don't see any issues with the stitches. So I'm going to redo that one because there's a lot of built up stitches on it. So next, though, it says we need to take this piece and this piece, take our stitched hems and overlap it by 1/2 inch. So it looks like maybe we put this one on top. Okay, that's wrong side, right side. So yeah, we're gonna put the triangle piece on top. Yep, the lower insert on top of the upper insert. If I would have actually read the instructions instead of just looking at pictures, that would have helped. I'm a visual person though. So like seeing pictures resonates more than words. So we're just gonna overlap them 1/2 inch. So pretty much those stitches are gonna line right up. And then, oof, that was almost bad. We're just gonna do a little baste along the edges so that they don't move. All right, fine. Fine, I'll do it. Kind of silly not to with my machine right here. I can kind of get it when I have to take my machine out and get it all set up, but if it's right here, I might as well do it, right? Okay, so let's paste. Try this one right on too and paste that. All right, so now you should have a piece that looks like that. And we're going to move this out of the way. I'm not going to put it away because I'll need it to do the other one. And later, I won't make you suffer through that again. So. All right, now we are going to serge the pieces together. Okay, so we're going to take, oh no, don't close. Please don't close. Okay, so we're going to take our cuff piece, have the part that's going to attach to the sleeve, so the wider part on the bottom. right sides together with our upper cuff piece towards the top. We're going to put this so that the corners line up there. And then we're just going to continue to line it up all the way to the bottom here. So like that. And then we're going to take we're going to stitch it 3-inch seam allowance. All right. Right sides together, line at the top. Yep. Okay. Line the remaining sides and stitch in the same manner. So we're going to fold this over now to here and align this side over the same way we did our other one. Okay, and then 3-inch seam allowance. So all we did here is we just aligned these raw edges together. You want to match this one up so that this is the top part is even, and you'll get that corner together. And then you just want to follow your curve around and match those up. So 3-inch seam allowance, 3-inch seam allowance. Okay, so now we're going to turn it right sides out, and you should have, let's get rid of this little extra thread here from our basting. So a cuff that looks like this. Let's pull this up so I can make sure. Okay, so you've got your upper thumbhole cuff tucked behind your inner so that when you put it on, your thumb just slips right in. Now what we need to do though is we need to fold this top part under 1/2 inch and hem that down. So just fold that under, and we're just going to top stitch that hem down. So I'm just going to use my cover stitch here. Inch. So I just went over those stitches that I started with, just like 1/2 inch or so, just to help lock those in, pulling my stitches to the front, clipping them, and then pulling them to the back so that they come to the back side of my fabric and lock in. Trim those out, and voila, we have our finished thumbhole cuff that we will attach to our sleeves on Friday. But here it is. For some reason, I think I might have. No, it's fine. Yeah, it's perfect. I'm just second guessing myself on everything on this one. I don't know why. It's not actually that hard. Like when we started it, I was like, oh, this is going to be intense. But it's written really well so far. Look at that. Awesome. Okay, so I am going to sign off, redo my other thumb hole cuff, cut out these other pieces, and take out that top stitching because I did not like the look of it. And then tomorrow we're going to be constructing the back, which is super easy. We're just putting the yoke on the back piece. And then we'll be attaching the back to the front, putting our sleeves on. I think we're going to be doing the hood too. And then all we have left is the zipper and the bands. Yay! Okay, so this went a little bit longer than I was expecting it to, but only because we had to deal with my machine. I'm so sorry about that. But we got it done, and I can't wait for tomorrow. All right, I'll see you then.